Step right up with Madam Lightning, where I bring you the news from a different point of view. And we definitely got to talk about the elephant in the room today of what has occurred recently. No pun intended, since the Republican Party mascot is an elephant. So, anyways, first we're going to do the usual segment, which is a makeup reveal. Alrighty, so if you can't tell, yes, I am a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan. Like, I cannot even tell you how huge of a Yu-Gi-Oh fan I am. Since first came to America, I've been an avid follower of it. Now, since it's daytime, I gotta show you this way. But I went with the Dark Magician, pink and purple style for like how his clothing is. I'm talking about the original Dark Magician for the eyeshadow. Sorry, it's kind of bright. And then the wings, if you can see it, it's kind of hard to see out here. And then I also got on my rose red earrings. And yes, my favorite, the red lipstick. And my nails are still painted white. I'm going to redo those today. Anyways, let's talk about elephant in 3, 2. All right, so let me show you the clip that I'm referring to, why we got to talk about it, and then educate you on why he cannot do this and why it's against the Constitution and why you shouldn't panic while learning a lot of things in case you didn't have the time to do the research. So here we go.
The red states are going to do good, and the blue states, I don't know, maybe they'll totally disappear off that map.
All right, so you saw that. So first off, let me tell you what's ironic about that, because he's saying the red states are going to do fine. In the blue states, he doesn't know what's going to happen to them. But where does a lot of the funding come from? What state? One of the biggest states that he hates and tries to threaten all the time. I'll give you a hint. They had a big wildfire. They have a huge mass majority of culture and blending together of America. You know. Oh, wait. I'll just give you it. Yeah, that's right. California is one of the biggest contributors to the budget for America, and a lot of their money is surplus that goes to all these red states. So I don't know how he thinks all the red states are going to function at all without blue state funding. So let's start there and call him out on his shit, because he definitely cannot do that. He can't do it, and I'm going to break it down why. So here we go, because you know we're about to do our little educational The More You Know segment. All right, so I want to talk about a beautiful thing called the Impact Control Act of 1974. So let's break that down for anybody who's not aware of what that actually is. So it was created as a procedural means by which the Congress considers and reviews, being the keyword, considers and reviews, and Congress, the executive branch, meaning President Trump's branch, on withholdings of budgetary authority. Take a second, let that soak in. All right, they review his decisions on budgets. It's not the other way around, so let me continue. So here's how it works. It requires the president to report promptly to Congress all withholdings of budget authority to abide by the outcome of the Congressional Impoundment Review Act process. So, let me translate what that means in layman terms for you. First, let me explain what an impoundment of funds is so that you can get a little more context and learn. Impoundment of funds is an act by the President of the United States of not spending money that has been appropriated by the U.S. Congress. And guess what? Fun fact, one of the first people to do that, actually take advantage of that, was Thomas Jefferson in 1801. Now, back to reporting. So, the OMB, or the Office of Management of Budget, should specify of partial year deferrals, identify all impoundments of congressional add-ons to the executive branch budget requests, meaning anything he wants to do must run through them, and the OMB is one of the things he has to go through. Now, there's other regulations and stuff when it involves legislative. I'm not really going to get into it because it's a lot of technical jargon, but here we go. So, here's a fun fact for you. The Constitution says no money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of law. Appropriations also made by law. And executive orders don't necessarily count as law because they didn't go through Congress or the proper process. There's only so much you can do with executive orders, which we all know he loves to throw those around like it's a fire salad. Anyways, I know that was terrible, but let me continue. So, under the Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7, Congress controls the purse. We've all heard this a million times because I've seen a lot of people in videos lately who don't know how fucking Congress works and how money is controlled and thinks that Trump can just do whatever the hell he wants, but that's not how it works. Anyways, moving on. So, the Constitution gives Congress the power of purse, and nowhere does it give the president any unilateral power to either temporary or permanently impound, steal, withhold, or prevent from being spent funds appropriated by Congress. Now listen to that for all you MAGA people who don't understand that. You're already threatening to take funds away because people don't do what he says. He can't do. It's against the Constitution. Now, I'm going to explain what unilateral means, just so everybody gets a grasp of what that means. Unilateral means action or decision performed by affecting only one person, group, or country involved in a particular situation without agreement of another or others, meaning the other party, the purse, Congress, has to be involved in those decisions because it's unilateral. And BINGO, suckers, because I'm schooling you fools. So now we're going to go over the powers the president actually has granted to him by Article 2 in the Constitution. So Article 2 establishes the executive branch of the federal government. It gives him power to enforce laws, make treaties, and appoint officers. Officials. I meant to say officials. So I'm going to go over each one briefly. So, executive power allows him to enforce laws and appoint officials. Being commander-in-chief, he's in charge of the U.S. military and state militias. Treaties, he's allowed to make treaties with Senate's approval. With a Senate's approval. You see that? With. There's a lot of he has to be working with people in partisan or bipartisan. Magic. Yeah, checks and balances. Gotta love it. Eating it like Wheaties with cereal in the morning. Appointments. He has the power to nominate and appoint ambassadors, judges, and other officials. And pardons. You're gonna love this one. Grants pardons and reprieves for federal crimes, except in cases of impeachment. And we know he loves to pardon criminals, because he definitely did it for them J6ers. Hey, basketball team name that should never be used. For 200, please. Ding. So, this is the only loophole from what I understand reading that he could exploit, which is congressional legislation giving him the power to commandeer states and governors of states they deem guilty of or engaged in insurrection. So saying somebody is disobedient to his orders, he might try to use that as a loophole so he could commandeer them. Yeah, and then exploit loopholes. All right. Who controls the money in the federal government? The Federal Reserve, the U.S. Central Bank, is responsible for monetary policy and the U.S. monetary system. They have three systems they go by, which is the open market operations, which is controlled by the Federal Open Market Committee. Then you have the discount rate, which is controlled by the Board of Governors, and the reserve requirements, which is controlled by the Board of Governors. So there's some more fun facts for you. I'm going to educate the hell out of you. So save some room for a snack, because more knowledge incoming. This is last but not least, because I did a lot of Googling and researching and going to pages. But here's one last question I looked up. How Congress and the president are involved. So, fun fact, Federal Reserve was created in 1913. One of the things the president can do there is he usually appoints the sitting Fed chair for a second term, and it doesn't matter which party basically is involved in it, either Democrat or Republican, independent, doesn't matter. But yeah, he does that. And then Congress determines how much money the government can spend in a fiscal year by creating a federal budget. And that's everything. Hope you guys enjoyed the lesson, because it's not about the left or the right. It's about what's wrong and what's right. And being educated and knowing what you're talking about is the most knowledgeable and right thing to do in this scenario. And you learned a lot about government with Madam Lightning today. Madam Lightning out. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed. And I do have a YouTube in my bio if you want to follow me over there as well in case TikTok ever goes down. Have an amazing day. Keep on educating people.